Hello, hello. I am so excited to be here today. I say that every time, but I just love the energy practitioners that come our way. I love the energy practitioners that come our way because they're ones that I think shed such light not only on their journey, but some of the ways that we might have things showing up for us. And I think Carol is no different. So Carol came to me through a lovely connection, Crystal, and I feel like it's so serendipitous because it's such a great topic that I don't think that we've touched on, clairvoyance. And I feel like Carol's gift of being a clairvoyant medium is something that we may know about, we might have heard about. But Carol, I would love for you to share with people what it is that you do.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So many mediums call themselves psychics also. And I veer away from the word psychic because then everyone expects me to tell their future. And that's not what I do, because you have free will. So you could turn left instead of turn right. Your future just changed. So the clairvoyant means clear sight. So I can see things. And I've been seeing things and getting images since I was a tiny kid. So not knowing really what I was seeing or what it meant, but I was seeing things. I'm also clairaudient, which means clear hearing. So the angels, your spirit guides, my spirit guides, our ancestors, they all talk to me. Even my deceased loved cat will come in with hearing messages. And I'm also clairsentient, which means feeling. And I am a medical intuitive. So if someone mentions in a reading that they have something going on in their stomach, I turn on my X-ray clairsentient vision and help them with that issue that might be in their stomach or wherever it might be. So I tell people when I'm on a call or in public, I turn my X-ray clairsentient vision off. So I'm not looking in your body all the time. So I'm actually a refugee from corporate America and did that for almost 40 years to help bring my son up. I was a single mom for off and on for many years, and to provide for myself and etc. So I worked with an energy healer back in the 80s and learned that really energy is quantum physics, and everything has energy and it can be manipulated. It can be transformed and transmuted. So I'm also a Reiki master. And when I do a session with someone, I bring in the clairvoyance, the mediumship, which medium would be really contacting your deceased loved ones, most likely. And if they're not up there playing golf or bridge, they might come in with a message if they have one appropriate for you. And so through the years, I've done that, all the energy and the seeing on the side. And probably about 10 years ago, I switched, maybe 15, switched from the corporate life to really honing in on the energy, the clairvoyance, and really making that more of a livelihood. And my goal, my whole life has been to make a difference for someone. And I know I'm doing that like all the time, and it gets me all excited. And I know I'm changing people's lives. I wrote a
Oh,
book several years ago, and which also involves not really the clairvoyance or the energy, but really things that I've learned throughout my quite long life so far. I hate to give my age because I don't want to act. I'm in my 70s and I don't want to act that way or look that way. So you can just guess. Anyway, so I have a coaching program that I'm basing on this book, and that's also transforming people's lives. And of course, the clairvoyance comes in whenever I have even a coaching client. So it's been a journey for sure. And a long one, sometimes challenging, sometimes complicated. And I always find time for fun and play, which is very, very important. We have to keep balance.
We do, we do. And there's so many things I want to dig into because I love the fact that you essentially have been doing this off the side of your desk. So you've had a corporate life for 40 years, which obviously is not really conducive to some of the work that you're doing today. So let's dig in a little bit because a lot of people that listen to this and watch this know they have some gifts, but they often don't know how to start or if they're real or maybe they're making them up. So I know you said that you've been seeing since you've been a child, but let's go to your corporate days when you've been doing sort of this knowing, seeing, sound, vision. And like, did you just start doing it for friends or how did you really start to kind of work on this off the side of your desk?
So definitely for friends and loved ones, and probably anyone who would listen and not run away screaming with their hair on fire. And really using it as part of my corporate too, to discern who is the best company to call on. I was in sales and marketing. How do I best write this copy? And it was really using those clairvoyant talents to know what to say to someone and to really know how to present to each different kind of person. So it was on the side of the desk, but it was probably there, kind of running through at the same time. And
I
most
love
people,
that. I
I would,
love that because I love that you didn't separate it out, that you were using the tools in your day job. I think that that is such a magical message because why not practice your tools while you're in your day job and using your insights and wisdom and alignment to help you maneuver the work at hand?
and everyone has intuition. We just don't hone it. We just don't really sometimes believe it. And we get these messages and we go, oh, yeah, right. And sometimes I have some funny stories of when I didn't believe the messages either. And it makes you a believer. And one of the ways to do that is when I was in mediumship school, we had to, it was a 3.5 year long training, and we had to meditate every single day. And even just for a few minutes, and maybe ask a question and then journal. So if someone wanted to hone their intuition, you could meditate maybe just a couple times a week and ask a question and see what comes up and keep notes. And as you go through several meditations, you'll find you're getting answers for yourself. And the more you hone in on those answers and that they come true, then you can believe it. And so we all have the gifts. We just, some of us just hone in more clearly or more often than others.
I love that. And it gives everyone just something they can work on. So if you meditate a few minutes, a half an hour, even 10 minutes, but you put a question out there, I get a lot of messages when I'm waking up, like
Yes,
really clear messages. Stop doing this, don't do this, name it this. So that's great. And I get a lot of messages in the evening, like 2 and 3, all like 222, 333. I wake up oftentimes and I get messages. So and I
and
write them right down right away because I once I go back to sleep, I'll never remember them.
right, right. The spirit world, the veil between this world and that world is very thin between like 1:30 and 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. So whenever I'm awakened at that time, I definitely write everything that is coming in because it's typically true, or it's typically could come true. So it's, and looking at your past too. My sister and I are both, I call her psychic because she really tells the future. She doesn't use it. Um, and we're like third generation. So we looked back into our ancestry and found out that a grandfather and a grandmother were both had those abilities. So if you go back far enough, you probably have someone in your family who was at least Claire something.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I believe that I am a clear knowing because when people call me and ask me questions, I get answers for them that I clearly would have not said to them. I mean, one, because it's often outside my comfort zone. And I now I let people know, like, this is what's coming through for me right now. And then people will come back later, years sometimes, like, oh, you told me this. Well, of course I can't remember because it came
Right.
through me to them, which is such a beautiful thing. And I love it. I love too that I can help. So you mentioned a little bit about how you knew you had these gifts, but you were afraid to use them. Can you talk a little bit about kind of that time in your life and what made you sign up for this mediumship?
I was more reticent to use them than, and more, I didn't trust myself that I was really hearing the real deal. And so I had a couple experiences that taught me, okay, you really are hearing the right thing. And the universe, I believe, provides, there's some higher power pushing us toward our purpose. And I was in my late 60s and life was good, not great, good. And I was getting the sense and the urge that I needed to study something different, be something different, move away from where I was, move towards something else. So I say I blow up my life, but I really just transformed it. So I left a very long time relationship, drove from New York to California, and started over in my 60s, late 60s, and guided all the way. And I ended up back in Cincinnati, where I had been earlier in the 2000s. And there was the mediumship teacher right there. So it's like, thank you, universe. You put me back in the right place. And when I was in California, I had no idea. I had no house. All my stuff was in storage. I had no idea where I was going to live, what I was going to do, nothing. And so my aunt calls me up from New Jersey and she says, I'm in a nursing home and I'm really concerned about my house. Can you go live in my house? And I said, oh, okay, I can live at your house. You can't make this stuff up,
You can't. You can't. And it happens to me now every day. Just even yesterday, I was feeling like so tired. I just didn't really feel it. I know lots shifting universal, but I was like just telling my friend, I'm like, I just am so tired right now. I just need like a break. And within hours, podcasts I was supposed to be on, meetings I was supposed to have, just all like completely canceled or just rescheduled. And I was like laughing. I was like, thank you. I just wasn't in the right state of mind. And I know
Well,
it's something so simple, but if you start to pay attention, like one, your words, you can easily manifest or like
yes.
sidetrack yourself either way. But two, the universe is here to help. And if you just ask for help or a vision or some direction, it's funny. It comes to me often through other people, sometimes through something I hear, but it's amazing how much information is available to you. And obviously houses too.
And being open and trusting that what you're hearing is for your best option and for your best self. So, okay, so I'm living in New Jersey and my cousin calls me up and says, okay, we're selling my aunt's house, so you've got to move. And it's like, okay, so you have to be out by December 1st. So about a month later, my girlfriend from Cincinnati calls and says, are you thinking of moving to Cincinnati? And I said, well, I'm not sure. I'm a Jersey girl. I'm living back in Jersey. I just don't know. And she said, well, my mother goes to Florida from December to March. You could live in her condo while she's gone and test the waters to see if you want to come back. And I said, okay. So back in, out of my aunt's house by November 30th in Cincinnati, December 1st, and there until March. And I closed on my house on March 12th, and her mom came back March 20th.
Synchronicity. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. Oh gosh. And so When you decided in your late 60s, which I think is quite amazing because I feel like fear sets in more and more every decade. So the fact that you're in your late 60s and you're like, you know what? I'm just going to put everything away. I'm going to leave this relationship and I'm just going to pursue what is calling me. That is brave. That is so brave. I mean, looking back on it, were you doing so many years of training that you felt like it was just time to leap? Or were you just like, you know what? If this is ever going to happen, it's going to happen now?
It was time to leap. And I had already been studying Reiki for the last 8 years before I left. So I had some other training. I had a little bit of my corporate stuff that I was doing on the side. So and I was writing my book. So I had things going on and it just was time. I felt pushed. It is time to get out of here and keep going. And as soon as I was back in Cincinnati, it was 2016. Within a couple months, I found the mediumship person. She's a 7th-generation psychic medium who's amazing. And she has a school to certify you. And so I studied with her, and the rest is history. And I'm living my best life.
That is amazing. I already have people I want to send this video to because I feel like they have to hear it. They have to know that like we are all here for a reason. And sometimes it doesn't always come in your 30s or 40s. Sometimes it takes later to really just manifest in a way that makes sense. And the fact that you were ready and leaned in is absolutely incredible. And I tell so many people, like, do you want to come back around and do this again? Or do you want to lean in now and see how it goes?
And I went from a good life to a fabulous life. Who wouldn't want a fabulous life? I've never been happier, literally.
That is unbelievable. The trust, the belief, the leaning in, the preparation, 8 years of Reiki, 3 years of your schooling to really give you the confidence to lean in. I mean, you probably could have done it, but it gives you that infrastructure and that confidence and maybe probably even the community to help.
And I was just in a Zoom room a little while ago, and we were talking about our money story. And I had my first business when I was 8. So I had a lemonade stand. I diversified to penny candy and bubblegum cards and baseball cards. And so it feels like in some ways I've been fearless my whole life.
That's such a beautiful thing.
Not afraid to step out and to step into something. And a lot of it is I feel protected. I feel pushed. I feel guided.
Well, we're all guided. And I think just having those daily meditations, bringing yourself around conversations and people like all of us that are just here to keep learning and listening and just paying attention to the signs. And as we're wrapping up here already, I could talk to you for hours. I love it. I was on your site today, Carol, and I just found the quote, bloom where you are planted.
That's probably the whole basis of my life. I'm good at that. I'm great at that. Not always, but yes. May I tell one quick, fast story? Okay.
Definitely.
This will be trust. So I'm standing on the front stoop by my front door when I lived in New Jersey, and I have a 6-pack of beer in one hand, couple bottles of wine in a bag in another hand. We're having a party, and the voices in my head said, put the beer down first. And I'm arguing, no, whatever. So I didn't. I put the wine down first, and of course it fell over, and the most expensive bottle broke. So whenever you hear this, even the stupid voices that say silly little things, listen.
That's so great. Just listen. Oh my gosh, Carol, you've given the listeners just such great advice already about the meditation, asking a question, and just listen to the whispers. My book, Seeking, I talk a lot about the whispers. I talk about the money stories, all the things that I've learned after visiting different practitioners of things that I was holding myself back. And I feel like I'm peeling off this life suit every year of things that are no longer serving me. So I can really just be the light that I came to be. And I just love meeting all of you because I feel like it validates why we're all here.
It does. Thank you so much. This has been fabulous.
Oh my gosh. Well, Carol, you are an energy healer, a quantum leap. You do life guidance, you do spiritual direction, and your insight together we seek. So I hope people will check out Carol through her links provided below, but also just some of her work. And I know you're having courses and classes, and I love that you're continuing to teach and leave your wisdom on the planet.
Thank you.
Can you tell us about and where we should find you? Maybe we should just talk about your URL just quickly for anyone who's not checking out the show notes.
Okay. My website is my name, carolwalkner.com. I'm on LinkedIn as Carol Walkner. Also, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, same thing with my name, probably in the same shirt that's a million years old, but it's there. And I would love to hear from people. I offer a 20-minute discovery call if someone would like to just is curious about working with me. I'm more than open to just having that complimentary call so I know you and you can find out about me.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm looking forward to doing more work with you. So thank you. Thank you, Crystal, and everyone that's part of Together We Seek. I feel like it's a community of light workers. Whether you're practicing or not, the frequency is bringing us all together.
Totally, it is. Thank you.
Thank you.